From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hey, friend, I'm just putting some mousse in my hair.
I love it. I actually crimped my hair this morning for this episode. Also joining us, this is a very special episode, is Erika Bromley from F This Movie. Hello, our new friend.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
You can hear me giggling already.
This episode is going to be giggle heavy. So if any of you have like an allergy to giggles, this may not be the right episode for you. We are going to be dorking out about 1987's Can't Buy Me Love. And this was a suggestion from Erika.
Yes.
If you guys haven't seen it, it's a teenage comedy from the 80s, obviously. And it's got Patrick Dempsey and Amanda Peterson and a very little Seth Green. I actually thought this was kind of funny timing because right now the movie Yesterday is playing in the theater. And it's all these movies, are filled with Beatles music, and now we're doing Can't Buy Me Love. I like to think that we planned it that way. But
Sure.
we totally didn't, because we're not that organized.
I appreciate that you guys let me come on for this movie because I don't think anyone else wants to talk to me about this movie anymore. I mean, Patrick has many times, and he's very patient and sweet, and will even watched it again with me. But I don't think anyone else in my life wants to talk about Can't Buy Me Love, so thank you.
Well, I remembered a couple of years ago, you wrote a column in F This Movie all about, it was like 13 reasons why you love Can't Buy Me Love, or
yes.
It was, yes. And
yes,
5 of them were Amanda Peterson's hair. Which is
I
awesome
love you
head of hair.
I love you for remembering that. Yes, I could not help, but I think it was 13 Reasons to Love Can't Buy Me Love. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was back in like February of 2017. I think it was part of our we were celebrating 1987 for probably at this movie fest.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And yeah, her hair, I mean, I don't know if you want me to go off on her hair now.
Do it.
Go off about her hair.
Go.
It's straight, it's curly, it's wavy, it's crimped, it's shiny all the time. Like
her hair is
like she
all
wakes
the
up
things.
Yeah,
it's like the things. It's like the perfect hair for every occasion.
Yeah, it can part in many different ways. She's just, I always loved her in this movie and thought she was adorable. And
everybody
I wished I had her hair. I still do wish I had.
Yeah, me too. It never looks like she's trying too hard.
Right,
You know what I mean?
No.
It always looks great, but it always looks kind of just freshly tousled. It's not overdone. I mean, she always looks great. In every scene, she looks beautiful.
Oh, she really does. And we'll talk about her career later, probably, right, in the setting. But so thanks for remembering that. I recently in my Facebook memories, when they tell you on this day, there was a post that came up, something that Patrick had written about how we were watching Can't Buy Me Love, and I was reciting every word and he was amazed or something. This is just in here. It's in the brain. There's no effort. It's like, when you watch a movie that you watched a lot as a kid and all of a sudden it just starts coming back to you song lyrics. It's crazy. I mean, it doesn't happen to me all the time. Even some movies I watched a lot, I don't necessarily have memorized, right? I think my brain is holding so much information at all times, right? You're a working adult, family, whatever. But certain films, it plays like a soundtrack. And actually, I think the reason that this movie does is because when I was in, how old was I? 4th grade, maybe? Third or fourth. My aunt, I think, had possibly illegally recorded some movies on a VHS tape, from another VHS tape. Mm-hmm. Was that a thing back then? I know she had this library of movies that were not actually in the packaging. But so I had a VHS tape that was Can't Buy Me Love, Ghostbusters, and John Waters' Hairspray, which those three movies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those three movies. I loved those are three of my, they were three of my favorites then. They still are now, especially, I mean, Ghostbusters and Hairspray are like awesome films, right? I mean, Can't Buy Me Love, I can't say it's a great film. In fact, a recent rewatch, I was like, oh gosh, this movie. But yeah, so all three of those movies on one VHS, and I used to just play it over and over and over again. This was like the, late 80s. And my family, I was very lucky that my parents liked movies, and we went to the movies, and every once in a while, they would buy a movie, and it was like it was a big deal, right? Like in 1989's Batman, we bought that and we owned it, and it like felt so special, right? But yeah, I watched those three over and over. So those three for sure just like play like music.
Okay,
I love
Sonia.
What? Yes, go ahead.
So we have to put Hairspray on the list.
Yeah. Okay. Hairspray goes on the list.
Oh my gosh.
I've memorized that movie too. I had the soundtrack. Oh my God.
Yes.
It's the best. It's my favorite John Waters movie.
Yes, I love it. And I know it's like his more mainstream. And so, you know,
but
I
it's
like
so
a
good.
lot. I like all its. Yeah, you're right. It's so good. And it really, as a very young kid, I was asking my parents questions about race relations and the music industry. And I remember them talking to me about just like historical things from the time that actually I learned things from the movie. It was like, what a great starting point for discussions about things. So yeah. Oh, so good.
I love the idea of young Erika watching Hairspray and then delving into like other John Waters movies. And you're like, what is happening?
Oh, this is something else that Divine can do. Okay.
You're talking about all three movies on that VHS tape reminds me of kind of all the like accidental double features you make growing up. So I think we had a videotape that was 16 Candles and Aliens.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So like in my mind, those go together, but they don't go together.
But now they do, see?
But now they do.
And so that happy memories when you watch either movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then,
and one is definitely aged better than the other, but I think the way you are about Can't Buy Me Love might be how I am about 16 Candles. It's a very, very flawed movie, 16 Candles, but I have it memorized like a record.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Did you, you wanted to talk about Can't Buy Me Love. Do you watch it every year? Do you watch it often? Did you just watch it a lot as a kid? And
so starting with that VHS tape, and it must have been like as soon as, I don't know, I can't even remember. Like, so it came out in 87, but when would it have been available at the video store?
They
like,
usually came out like a year later. I think like a year later you could rent it, and then like 6 months after that it would show up on HBO.
Right. Okay. And I think my aunt had a neighbor who like figured out how to illegally copy these movies. It's terrible. And I was not, I did not approve of this. I was a kid. I was in grade school, right?
Yes.
So, but yeah, I watched it, like I said, all the time. Would definitely watch it at sleepovers with friends when they were at my house. In addition, we had a couple like mainstays. Then as we got older, it was like Sleepaway Camp was a big one that we always watched. later years, Candyman and whatever. But anyway, but no, these were like the non-horror movies that we watched over and over again. And I got to say, my friends didn't really get into Hairspray or Ghostbusters the way that I did, but they would request Can't Buy Me Love. So watched it all the time. And then as I grew up, I'm like opening myself up to more movies, thankfully. No, I was always a movie person. And again, lucky that I had parents that like took us. And so that was good. But when I was a senior in high school, I started working at Blockbuster Video. And so I would bring home stuff all the time. So I didn't go back to Can't Buy Me Love as often as maybe some other favorites, just because I was also trying to, see new things, whatever. But every few years, probably. And if it's on cable, oh my gosh. So Patrick tells the story that like one note of the movie and I'll be in the other room and I'll just start like singing it or saying words. And he's like, it was one beat. It was one sound. How did you know? And he's good at that too, but it was like one note of Can't Buy Me Love, just one little whatever. So yeah, every couple years.
Yeah.
And then the rewatch recently. So you guys watched it recently too?
I did. I just watched
it 2 days ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Same.
And did you have, I mean, like I was telling Patrick, I still love it. And it's just all that nostalgia and childhood and happiness. But this time I was noticing flaws, and they're just the general flaws, right? Like it's just not the best movie.
Yeah.
In terms of like how it's made, but it's so just great if you watched as a kid. And
No, I was trying to, like, I'm a little bit older than you, just a little bit older than her, you guys. And so when I saw Can't Buy Me Love, I would have been 16.
Okay.
And so I remember watching it at the time, and it really like clicks for me, as those kind of movies would, about like jocks and nerds and you know, that like I really like a boy and he doesn't like me, or you know, that sort of thing. Like that's really going to click with me. So I remember seeing it at the time and I super loved it. And I think I've maybe watched it one more time, and then on this rewatch I found how much I super loved Amanda Peterson's character and kind of wished the whole movie was about her.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of Patrick Dempsey's character, who like kind of finds popularity and like instantly becomes a jerk. And I was like, I don't want to hang out with him. I want to hang out with her because she has like an interesting arc going on. I think I really liked it. Margo, what's your history with Can't Buy Me Love? What is your relationship with Can't Buy Me Love?
My relationship is in the 80s. At this time, we lived in Northern California, and my dad had hot wired the house with a cable, but like illegal cable. So yeah, so
we're all seeing this movie illegally.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally. And so it was one of those movie channels, like it would show Can't Buy Me Love at 2, and then Lethal Weapon 2 at 4, and like you would pay, most people pay for it, but I was like, I'm getting this for free. So it would play like 2 or 3 times a day, and I would watch it. And I mean, I know every beat of this movie. I know the dumb jokes, the good jokes. I mean, I know every beat of this movie. And then I haven't seen it in, like, you know, I saw American Hustle once, and I'll never watch it again. But this movie, I was like, for some reason, I just find the journey interesting. And I was younger, you know, when it came out. I mean, now I look at it and I watched it the other night. I'm like, why isn't this about Amanda Peterson, Cindy?
Yes.
Cindy. She's the interesting character. She's super, by the way, a nice girl, very smart, totally has agency over herself in a very tough time and a tough age. And I even like her mom. Like her mom could be played to be kind of a dipshit, you know, the single mother, blonde.
Right.
And she's not. She's cool. She's together, she's with it. I understand, like when they ruin the dress, I still get upset. I get upset for her. I get upset about the whole thing.
Oh, I get
still
upset.
Gets me. But Ronnie, I mean, I like Patrick Dempsey. I thought he was adorable.
Yeah.
He still looks great.
Yeah.
But his character turns into such a major douche in 2 seconds. And it's like his journey is not as interesting to me. He's so awful to his friends, like right off the bat. The second she's nice to him. Yeah.
That part was so sad to watch. I was like, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
And I think that when I was a kid, I just kind of accepted all of that as awful, but this is the way it is, because so many movies about teenagers during that time were based on like cruel behavior to each other, especially within like the groups, right? And you know, I work at a high school and I do not see any of that. That doesn't happen. At least I think maybe I'm very lucky where I work, but you just don't see that kind of treatment, like you not allowing people in. The groups at the school where I work, the groups kind of mingle all the time. There's crossover all the time. But anyway,
I was going to ask you if those dynamics were still in play, because I feel like in the 80s, like this kind of dynamic was in play in movies, but I think it was happening too. Like at my school, we definitely had like the stoner kids and the jocks and you know, so
the freaks. Do you guys have the freaks?
Oh yeah,
of course.
We called them
Smokers lounge.
Our school had a smokers area for kids. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Well, I mean, I had heard that mine did in the past, but it wasn't there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
But they were called the stoner kids. And then we had like drama kids and jocks and nerds and then people who were just kind of floated around in between.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in my school, it was like the freaks were art students or anyone who liked anything even a tiny bit out of the mainstream. So,
Right.
I don't know. It was crazy. But Cindy Mancini, going back for a second, you guys said it perfectly. Like, she's such an interesting character and has so much more to offer. And I think about her as she didn't do anything. Like, she's lucky, right? Like, she's born with that hair. She's born this certain way. She's smart and beautiful and nice, and she has all these friends. But like, she ends up kind of being stuck with that group just because she's, I don't know, a cheerleader, or I don't know what it is, But she has so much more to offer. But none of her close friend group would ever accept that about her. So when she shares her poetry with Ronald, and you just see these little hints at more that one conversation with her mom when she wants to stay home.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get food and watch an old movie, and it's just like such a sweet moment between them. But you see all these like parts of Cindy Mancini that I think her really close cheerleader friend group doesn't see and wouldn't really be supportive of. So she just kind of goes through high school as like, well, this is what I'm stuck with, even though I probably have so much more to offer and explore about myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt for her more this viewing than even before. Because again, as a kid, I just kind of went with it like, this is what the movie is, and this is what high school is, I guess. I don't know. I'm too young right now to, I went with it. I usually go with whatever movie. Like, I'm going to go with it.
I have a question about the plot. Oh, I'm sorry, Sonia.
No, go ahead.
My question, okay, so the plot is that Cindy borrows her mother's white suede dress, and the asshole kid spills wine on it. And red wine, of course.
Ricky, I think. Is that Ricky?
Ricky. He's not drinking beer like a normal kid. He's got to be drinking red wine
or whatever.
Whatever. So she goes to the dry cleaners, and they basically have the exact outfit there. And so, but it costs $1,000, which 30 years ago, that's a shitload of money.
Right.
I mean, right. I mean, so, and Ronald had to mow a lot of lawns to earn the money, and he was going to buy a telescope. He gives her $1,000 to be his friend. Is it for 1 month? I mean, I forgot about the timing. I'm like, that's
it's
a
1
lot
month.
of money to spend in 1 month. And she never had to kiss him, and she didn't have to do anything else.
Right.
I mean, it's all she had to do was just, her popularity was her currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Correct.
I just want to clear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember though, even thinking as a kid, like 1 month, it seems like it should be a few months.
Yeah,
For that kind of money. He's not getting his money's worth.
No. That's $250 a week he's doing.
Ronald, you're supposed to be really smart. You're not a really good negotiator.
No.
He was so desperate to be popular.
So desperate. And actually, I wanted to go back to something you said about how he was instantly so mean to his friends. The setup of the movie super contrived, right? The idea that he's going to spend this money and, get popularity, and she's going to pretend to be his girlfriend. But the idea that he finds a little popularity and then turns on his real friends is very real. Like, that's something that, like, people, especially, it starts in middle school and it goes into high school, where, like, as your friends, like, meet other people, in order to, like, boost themselves up, they'll kind of push you down. It's something that happens. And so some of that stuff actually rang pretty true to me.
Yeah, no, it happens at work too.
Oh, for sure.
At your jobs, you all start out at the same level, and then some people become brown nosers, or some people get promoted before others, white males, and then and then they got that little bit of an attitude problem, like, over you. Like, it definitely happens in life, but it's just kind of sad to watch, because Ronald's friends are really just devastated when he dumps them. I really feel bad for them. Yeah, they seem nice. They're dorks, but they're nice.
And so I know. Oh my gosh. Chips, dips, and dorks. That line, I mean, was quoted by me on a daily.
Seth Green is hilarious in this movie. Seth Green is everything. Yeah.
And I loved when he was older and popping up in a lot of stuff I was watching. And my reference was always like, he's Chucky Miller. He's Chucky Miller. And same with, just a little side here and aside. Dennis Dugan as the dad, the Miller dad. That's how I found out who Dennis Dugan was. And years later, when I realized he was directing all of Adam Sandler's movies, I was so confused.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Dennis Dugan? Like, what? What an interesting career change. And now he just goes off and...
Ronald Miller's dad is directing Adam Sandler?
And of course, sadly, in movies that I always call movies that never need to be studied. Like whenever my students ask, look, are there any directors that wouldn't really be interesting to study? And I always say, yes, Dennis Dugan. There's nothing so bad saying that because, Adam Sandler, those movies specifically, like they're fine for people who enjoy them and have fun with them. But there's really, I don't know if there's anything to really take away.
They don't need a closer look.
Right.
No. We forgot to mention something really important here. And I didn't even realize it until I watched it the other night. But the musician Gerardo is in this movie. Rico Suave.
Yeah.
I did not put that together at all.
Yeah,
at all.
The Hispanic kid is Gerardo.
Oh my God.
He had a song, I think it's like 88 or 89 called Rico Suave.
Yeah.
It was like a one-hit wonder.
Yes.
And then he became a music executive at Interscope. He became like really rich and successful. But in this movie, he's just a skinny little kid on the football team.
Oh my God.
And he plays the part really well. I mean,
he does.
He's great.
All really believable as sort of, not the smartest, like exaggerated bro types, diehard football. Oh my gosh. Do you remember when Big John at the party goes to the window?
Yeah.
Oh, to fart? He farts twice.
Everybody's just like, oh yeah, that's Big John. Like, oh my gosh.
So one of the things that cracked me up about this movie, and it always happens in movies with makeovers, is immediately it's like, take off those glasses. And as someone who wears glasses, it makes me laugh every time because at no point do they get contacts, and now they're walking around and they can't see. And I'm like, is this why he can't see that Cindy actually likes him? Because he doesn't have his glasses on, you guys. It's not his fault.
The movie montage with contacts, you would think it's the most difficult thing to ever, like it's putting in an IUD or something. Like it's something I've been doing since I was 12.
Right.
First thing in the morning. Like it's not a big deal. But no, he gets that and a little mousse in his hair and she rips the sleeves off his shirt.
Yeah.
And it always cracks me up.
I know. I'm like, how is this better? Wait, why is this cool? I don't get it.
But what's fun, like Ronald before the transformation would be considered super cool now. He would be a hipster. Yeah. He looks like every dude here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
And he acts like one, yeah.
Actually, my husband has those
and
glasses.
The bike. Oh. Hey.
I also love that Cindy has what appears to be a life-size cutout of her boyfriend in her bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does she get that?
Because college football is such a big thing. I mean, he's a freshman on the college football team, and they already made a cardboard cutout. Because I don't think you could just run to Kinko's and get those back then. But maybe you could. You probably could, but maybe. I don't know.
I'm gonna get one, is what I'm saying. Now that's my thing. I'm getting one.
So what grade are they in? Are they in the 11th or 12th grade?
They're in senior year because his whole thing
year.
is like, this is supposed to be the best year of our life. I'm like, is
right,
it?
Right. That's why he freaks out.
Right.
Senior year, like by January especially, no one gives a shit, right? I mean, everyone's checked out.
They are.
Right. Well, and so that's why he wanted to experience this popularity before it was too late. This was like 1987's Booksmart.
I haven't seen Booksmart yet. I'm going to.
Yeah.
They're not really comparable at all, so I was just making a dumb joke, but
it's not a dumb joke. That's a solid joke.
Well, because he's focused on school for all this time, and now he's finally gonna, experience just that laid back popularity.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and just be popular. And then, so she has the two friends who also have great hair.
They do.
Oh my gosh.
Big great hair. And then so she and Ronald, they go out for a few weeks. I like the date that they have that's out in the airplane field, where they look at the moon. That's a really nice scene. And they, like, you could tell, and like I said, all of her outfits are so great. She just looks great in every single scene. And then they break up the next day, and then Ronald really ups the douchebaggery. And then the girls kind of compete to date him.
Which I thought was so weird.
Yes.
Right? Why are you acting that way in front of Cindy, your best friend? You know everything that just happened. Like, why are you trying to get with him just because he's someone you haven't gotten with? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
And the two friends, yes, great hair. And they, Patty is Darcy DeMoss, right? And she was, okay. I don't know how old any of these actors were at the time of filming this movie, but those two girls just seem, especially Darcy DeMoss, they seem so much older. Like you are not in high school. Are you,
No.
what?
No, Amanda Peterson
You
was
are
15.
30 or something,
Yeah.
something. I don't know. Okay.
She was young, and Patrick Dempsey was 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then like a year later, he marries his friend's mother in real life.
And they were married forever, right? Or
For
possibly
a
still?
long, almost several years. She was like 20 or 22 years older than him. And they were married for a while, and then they split up. And then he married his wife, Jillian. Yeah. But it was a big deal at the time.
Didn't he do like 2 movies in a row where he played like he had older
Loverboy.
lovers?
Loverboy. He was the pizza
Loverboy?
delivery guy that stooped
Right.
every woman
Yes.
on his route. Yeah.
And then what was the other? Didn't he do another one too? Like
He did one that was like his character was based in the 40s or something
yeah,
like that.
that's the one
Yeah,
I'm
it was
thinking of too.
a period piece. Yeah. Yeah.
But
He did
also,
a few
I
things that- Go ahead.
Go. No, I was just gonna say I think maybe his real life was spilling over into his movies.
Yeah, he was getting lucky at a very young age. Who knows?
But the
But
we keep talking about the hair. The hair is on point in this movie. That
Yeah.
looks this movie's some amazing 80s porn, by the way. My husband walked in and he wasn't as nice as Patrick, who said he'd watch it with you. My husband was like, hard pass. But he walked in and was like, this is some serious 80s hair in this movie. The crimping and the sprayed bangs that are like kind of crunchy in front, and then like the mullets.
When it's like all flipped on one side.
Yeah.
A little bit high.
what about the dance scene? When there's a cheerleading dance scene, like those leotards and shit.
Mhm.
Oh my
Yes.
god!
Oh my
that
gosh.
was, like, so
Choreographed by
jazzercise.
Paula Abdul, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Paula Abdul.
Yes. And I think she's in there, isn't she? Like, is there an appearance? I don't remember. And I just watched it and I wasn't looking for her, but I know she choreographed it.
Yeah, I think she's just is she one of the cheerleaders? Like
She might be, yes.
I think that's
She
right.
might be.
I think.
Yeah, and then because it's a couple years before she had her singing career.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Straight,
and then
straight up.
and then I love.
She's
I love
forever
that
our
first
girl.
album.
I know. Oh my
love her.
gosh.
I love by the way, I love
Yes.
Paula Abdul. I'll defend her. I love
Yeah.
Okay, so can I dork out really
Yeah,
quickly?
do it.
About
Yeah.
something? I love tap dancing.
Me too.
I don't like do it anymore, right? Because what, where, and why. But no, I mean, whatever. I did have students who talked me into doing like a teacher-student dance. I mean, they've talked me into that many times, and like in the talent show or the dance show. So I've gotten, but usually it's hip hop. But one year, a girl choreographed a tap dance, and so one other teacher and I tapped with these students,
Oh my
and it was
gosh.
something. But I love tap dancing. So when Paula Abdul was tap dancing in her music video,
Yeah.
that was just, I was like so in love,
That's
right? So yeah, that
I'm-
hooked me. Okay.
Okay, maybe we need to talk off mic, because I actually was telling my husband the other day that I was thinking about taking a tap dancing class.
Oh, you should.
Yes. I wish we lived close by. We could take it together.
I know. I'm like, either that or a hip hop dance class, but I think tap is maybe more my thing. Anyway, that's a side tangent. Sorry,
Okay.
everybody.
I like it. It's okay. Everybody wants to know about your tapping.
Everybody
Tapping
wants.
dreams.
Everybody wants to know. I also love that this movie had a home economics class. Is that still a thing in high school?
Sort of. It's way more. It's way more practical. It's not called home ec, but it's
Right.
way more practical, and like there's science involved,
Mhm.
and it's really applied to like real life situations, even more than just like you can cook for yourself. I mean, that's part of it, but there's a lot more. But yeah, I was cracking up at that scene thinking they're all together hanging out, sitting on top of the counters,
Mhm.
cracking eggs like it's no big deal. Just
Yeah.
Right.
And that was something that we had in my high school too, with the classroom that has like 8 kitchens, like little kitchens. And we would,
yeah, we
and
still
you-
have that.
yeah. I'm like, I didn't know that was still a thing.
Yeah.
There you go. Also, there's a character in here who eats a raw egg. You guys don't eat raw eggs.
So
Money
gross.
can't
Oh
buy
my
you love, but
God.
it can buy you salmonella. Don't
Oh.
eat raw eggs. It's
Was
bad
that
for you.
Big John? I don't remember which one. I think, was it Big John?
Yeah. That's
Think
why he's
so.
farting so much, you guys.
That's-
Don't
yeah.
eat raw
Some gastro
eggs.
issues.
He needs to look at his diet. Yes.
This is something that
gosh.
comes back up on our show when we talked about Rocky too. I was like, you guys, PSA, do not eat raw eggs.
I was going to tell you guys that I knew a guy in college who knew Cindy Mancini, well, Amanda Peterson.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, he he was dating a girl who went to college in, I think, Colorado. I apologize if I'm not remembering these details correctly. But so he would go and visit her and then stay for a while. And I guess Amanda Peterson went to college out there.
I think she's from Colorado.
Okay. Well, he met her and he always said like she was just like incredibly beautiful and, super sweet and nice. And so when I think about how her life sort of ended, it just makes me so sad. Like what happened,
It's
like
so
why?
sad. She's so talented.
Right.
So she's really, really great in this movie.
She is. Yeah.
And she's 15, by the way, guys. I mean, she's young and she's holding her own.
It reminds me of when we watched Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and we were so blown away by Christina Applegate, who was I think 17 at the time, and just how accomplished she seems and how confident she seems. And I think Amanda Peterson seems like that too, like just someone who's like so gifted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know when she was very young, she was in Annie. Was she in Annie on Broadway, or was it? All I know, she was in Annie. Oh wait, no, she's in the movie Annie, right?
Oh, is she? I haven't seen Annie in years.
Okay.
I haven't seen Annie in forever.
Annie was another one that like I watched weekly as a kid. So like a younger kid, like I watched Annie and E.T. repeatedly, and once filled out my name as Erika E.T. Annie on a preschool project. This is a true story. And the teacher like talked to my mom about it, and then they like pulled me in the hallway, and the teacher was like, "That's not really your name." They thought I was having like identity disorder or something because I was writing Erika E.T. Annie. This is a story that like my mom has told for years, because it's like, no, I just like these movies and I'm fine, I think. Right? Like, but anyway, so she's in Annie. She's one of the orphans in Annie. And I don't know why I thought she maybe was in Broadway too, but I could be wrong about that.
I know Sarah Jessica Parker played Annie on Broadway as well.
Yeah. And was Gwyneth Paltrow too, or no?
No.
No. Look at you said that so confidently. No.
Yeah. Nope.
But didn't Gwyneth Paltrow do? Oh God,
she did Proof.
Okay, no, but like, on Broadway, yeah. When she was a kid, though, when she was little.
I don't know about that, to be honest with you. Okay. I feel like, but she hasn't as an adult. It's tough. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like these childhood pictures that when I was a kid, like looking through magazines, I was like, oh look, who's so. Yeah, Amanda Peterson, her performance as Cindy Mancini is actually, like you said, really good. It's confident, and she has a range. Like when she gets serious about things and upset at the end, like you don't really feel like it's forced at all. She's so sweet in other moments. I love her in the airplane graveyard.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, and I like her performance so much because unlike Ronald, and I'm not shitting all over Patrick Dempsey. He's fine in the movie, and I like him. He's McDreamy. Come on, I'm not made of stone. Yeah. I get it, but like her performance is more internal. Like he makes like these like a physical thing. Like I'm a dork and I'm wearing a beret and I've got glasses, and then the moose and they take the glasses off, and and he. Like a lot of his performance feels like it's based on the clothes he's wearing.
Yeah.
And hers is not like that. Like she doesn't have those kind of changes throughout the movie. She doesn't make any kind of physical transformation. She makes an emotional one. She realizes like she likes who she likes and she's into what she's into, and she's going to do it no matter what. And
that's exactly right. Yeah.
I just like that more.
Even Patrick Dempsey's big monologue at the end with the slow clap. I feel like
we'll definitely talk. We need to
talk
about that.
About the slow clap from this movie. This was my first exposure to a slow clap, but yeah, even his big monologue is really, it's good and it's sweet in the character. It's like an important moment, right? But it still seems to be, you could just see him working a little bit where you never see her working, and even when she was drunk at the party and crying.
Yeah.
And she says, "You're all a bunch of followers."
Right.
Like when she said, I mean, it's devastating when she says that. Like she's really calling them out, and they're all guilty of it. Yeah. We should say Amanda Peterson, by the way, passed away a few years ago, and people are wondering what we're trying to say. She I think it was a drug overdose.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago.
It's really sad.
Yeah. It's so sad because I was looking at her IMDb page and she wasn't doing very much towards the end. And I'm like, there's a lot of raw talent here. Like, she's really good.
Yeah. It sounds like she was, she left show business and she went back to school and she was just trying to figure out her place, it sounds like, but she had addiction issues and it's real sad.
She was young.
She was super young. She was like
43.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
it's really sad.
Yeah.
The big speech.
She died in Colorado at age 43, 5 days before her 44th birthday.
Poor thing.
And I remember that, you know how when you really love a movie or a celebrity, musician or whomever, people who know you well will sort of like text. I remember when Toby Hooper passed away, Patrick's phone blew up because people were like, oh, my, thinking of him, right? Because you just know someone. And I remember when she died, like there were some old friends of mine who, remembered like how much I love this movie and were like, did you see this and stuff? It's like, oh, sad. Sweet that they think of me, but
it's really sad.
Yeah.
I wish the big speech that Ronald gave, the like cools, nerds, all that. I kind of wish she had been the one to give that speech.
Yeah, if they had just done a few things differently with his character, even if they still wanted him to be a jerk, just changing a few things would have made that moment more acceptable for him. I think. Like, here's what it is for me when I watched it recently. When he breaks up with her, and there's this misunderstanding where she says, I think we should do it now. And he's like, okay, now. And he just goes right into this big thing he rehearsed. And that part, I'm like, what is happening here? Like, on what planet does he just start saying, you've been using me and I can't keep up. I can't afford anything. You draped all over me like a cheap fucking suit and like all that stuff. Like, why is he yelling and screaming? And she's trying to say like, no, this is not what I thought, and she's having a conversation. He thinks it's part of the act. She says, this isn't dignified, right? She kind of whispers that and then he uses that like, you want to be dignified. I just think that could have been written differently to make the breakup a little bit, I don't know, nicer? I mean, it didn't have to be a nice breakup. I get what they needed to do, make it public, but why did it have to be public?
Right. Couldn't it just be we broke up?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I never understood during this rewatch why I thought he liked her. Like, he clearly has this huge crush on her and
his whole life, right?
Yeah, and he like takes her out to the airplane graveyard and all that stuff, and I didn't understand the switch from I have a crush on her to I'm going to be clueless that she also likes me too, and no attempt to like, I don't know, see if she likes him too, or I don't know. It just seemed like a weird thing.
It's not even a possibility to him. He's like excited to dump her because he thinks he's going to get laid, which he does. But that's his whole thing. Like, he just, but like, I know it always bothered me the way he did that because she was super nice to him. She really did raise his profile at that dance school. And he could have just like, I'm sorry, it's not working out, and that's how they break up. But he had to be a dick about it, which then why would the other girls want to go out with him if he's such an obvious dickhead? Some guy screaming in the school quad at another woman, like, you're costing me money. I wouldn't want to date him.
No, just that action alone, seeing that from a guy, be like, oh, I'm never getting into that, right? Yeah.
Right.
And in front of her, the same or the next day, flirting with him and then fighting. I was going to be the one that asked him to dance, like they're fighting over him. Like, what?
Right.
Even if he wanted to be the victim, right? If he wanted it to be her fault, he could have done it without being an asshole. He still could have been the victim, right?
Yeah.
If that's what he wanted to play out. I don't know. Oh, but then wait, should we talk about French kissing in the USA? I bet you've never seen a pair like these or whatever.
Oh, God, that's right.
And again, she seems so much older.
Yeah.
She seems, when I was a kid, I didn't think too much of it. But even then, I kind of felt like, oh, these are older, maybe actresses playing high school kid, like her specifically.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was, but to me, she was like in her 30s,
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe now is not maybe now this would totally happen. But back then, I don't know if I knew anyone who would be like that sexually confident in high school.
In high school? Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure. Well, because promiscuous is not the same as sexually confident. So not necessarily, right? It could be. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know anyone.
No.
But that scene always cracked me up. And again, as a kid, it was like, oh gosh, I hope my mom doesn't walk in the room while I'm watching this scene.
It gets a little racy.
Yeah, and then she's going to take the movie away. And when she takes it away, she's going to take away Ghostbusters and Hairspray.
Oh. Well, that did sort of happen once. I got kicked out of the room. My parents were watching Cocktail, and I was like hanging out watching it. And then the love scene where they're like rolling around like aggressively in the sheets. Do you remember this at all?
Oh my God.
They were like, Erika, go to your room. Like, get out.
That movie is a movie we should talk about, Sonia.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is such a dick in that movie.
And
what he does to Elizabeth Shue is such a...
Oh my gosh.
All right. Cocktail's going on the list.
Yep.
Actually, that song, Kokomo, came on recently when I was on my vacation. It was playing in one of the restaurants, and I was so like, I can't leave. Like, our food is coming. I really, really hate that song. I know other people super love it.
I saw you tweet about that.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't protect you from everything, Calvin. I'm sorry you have to listen to Kokomo. It's such a bad song.
Do you remember the 49ers had a version of that?
No.
It was called Go Joe Mo. It was for Joe Montana.
Oh, that sounds worse than the Super Bowl shuffle. The Bears
worse than the Super Bowl shuffle. Yeah, it's shuffle. Yeah, it was terrible. Go Niners, go Joe Mo. That's how they did it.
I'm gonna look it up.
Rolls off the tongue, does it not?
It'll probably make me like Kokomo more, actually.
I think you actually would like. I'll see if I can find it on YouTube or something.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Cocktail was another movie though that like once, so maybe a little bit older, right? And then once it was out, I had a friend down the street whose parents like bought every VHS that was released. And so and as a very young kid, I would look at their collection and think, well, I'm going to do that when I'm older. And that's, once I like started being able to buy anything, I started building my own collection. And I really think about my friends' parents. Like, anyway, we watched Cocktail all the time then. Later, and my parents probably didn't know that I was watching it all the time, but yeah, that scene with Elizabeth Shue, so awful. But that is a movie, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple lines that like Patrick and I will quote all the time. He hates that movie so much, like but I can tolerate it because of the nostalgia.
Right.
And even though we love Elizabeth Shue, so we could like watch her and anything, but like, oh, he hates it so much. But there's like a song at the end that we'll like randomly sing at times, and we quote it. We're like, why are we quoting Cocktail? What is happening right now?
Okay, that is definitely going on the list, and you are coming back. You are coming back, and we're all gonna talk about Cocktail because this one sounds too fun to pass up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in. It'll be embarrassing for myself, but I'm in.
Okay, good.
All right, so back to Can't Buy Me Love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you
that.
guys have a lot of favorite
So
quotes
I
in this movie?
Oh, I have I love the dance scene at the high school because he's doing the African tribal dance, but he doesn't know that. And then he gets everybody to do it.
Yeah. I love that the nerds know what it is.
Yeah.
They're like, that's the African anteater dance.
Yes, exactly.
The timing of them standing up and pointing and shouting that is so perfect. It's just so funny. So
I
funny.
love it. That's my favorite part.
Or when the little brother realizes that he's watching the wrong thing. It's like PBS cultural hour or something. And Seth Green comes in and he just starts laughing. Like he's not going to tell his big brother that he just learned a different dance, not the dance he was planning on learning. Right.
I love that he couldn't tell the difference between a PBS show and American Bandstand.
I know, right? Wasn't it?
Oh,
Ronald, I thought you were smart.
It's so cheesy and horrible when they all jump in, but I love it so much. And the whole gymnasium's doing it. It's the worst, but the best, right?
Yeah.
That's also Paula Abdul choreographed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's why it's so
they put
good.
her to work here. Yeah, that's why it's so great. Yeah.
Okay.
It reminds me of Teen Wolf when they all dance like the wolf.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sucker for a big group dance number.
Oh, totally.
Basically.
Yeah.
Didn't She's All That do that too? There was like a whole, let's all do the dance we all learned. I'm like, what? And they
I've
have
never seen it.
they have like a big choreographed dance.
I have not seen that for a really long time, but I think so. Yeah. And have you guys ever seen Get Over It?
No, but
No.
you
Oh my
guys just
gosh.
talked about it. I think Patrick just talked about it recently on the show, and I
Yes.
wrote it down.
Okay. Yeah. I think we might have talked about it or on one of our like go back to this year and talk to our
Which
lists.
I love,
don't know.
by the way.
Well,
FYI,
yeah.
I love those
Really?
episodes.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's two of you. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But thanks. No, I always figure like no one's really listening, right? But then someone will say like, oh, that was fun. That's really nice. But yeah, no, in Get Over It, it opens with like a musical basically, and I remember when we saw it in the theaters, we just both like loved it so much, and then even just watching it again recently, like my response is like my heart was exploding. I just love it so much. So yeah, definitely. Wait, who said they didn't see that?
I haven't seen it.
I didn't. Neither one of us.
Oh my gosh.
What is it from? Who's in it?
Get Over It.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Kirsten Dunst and who else? Ben Foster. Why am I blanking? I don't have it up, so I can't. It's 2001. Cisco is in it, right? The musician. And Mila Kunis. Yeah, Mila Kunis.
Oh, I'm in. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the most important part. Shane West is in it too. That's right. Colin Hanks, Zoe Saldana. There's tons of people.
Oh my gosh.
Beck Jr. Martin Short. Okay, so Martin Short plays the high school musical theater director, and it's so funny. His performance is so great. You guys, please watch this movie.
Yeah.
What? Yes, do
put it
something.
on our list.
Can we write something? Maybe we should write a piece like, I don't know, something. We have to figure out something. Yes. I want you to watch it. Coolio's in it. Vitamin C is in it. Speaking of hairspray earlier, vitamin C.
I can't believe I haven't seen it. I think
it's better than it has any right to be in a way, right? Like when we went to see it, we were just expecting like whatever, because there were so many movies that looked like that on the surface, right? In the late 90s and early 2000s, and we would go see all of them.
I think it came out the same time as Bring It On, right? So it's probably like Bring It On, Kirsten Dunst. And I saw that, so maybe I thought, oh, I already saw that movie. Who knows what I thought.
Right. No, I could see that. And so Ben Foster, there's this picture that Patrick and I found where we just are so young and skinny, and it looks kind of like Ben Foster and Kirsten Dunst. It's just so funny to us, but I don't know. Like people, when I was like younger and skinnier, used to tell me that I looked like Kirsten Dunst.
You do.
I do. No.
It's true.
Aw.
People tell me I look like Ben Foster. No.
I look like Cisco.
Didn't Cisco have the thong song?
Yeah.
He did indeed.
That was him.
It was that time they also had the song Nelly, It's Hot in Here, so take off all your clothes. Remember that?
I know that song.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I remember because he had like an album and it was called like Nellyville, and my sister had it, and I used to make fun of her all the time, like tease her and be like, "You're like the mayor of Nellyville." Such a dork. I need a makeover. Should you guys come over and take my glasses off and put mousse in my hair?
No,
we're gonna rip your sleeves off.
Rip my sleeves off.
Rip your sleeves off.
Part of your new life is that you just can't see anything, so I hope you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'll have to accept it. I'll have to look for a new job because I spend a lot of time reading. I love when they get into the huge fight on New Year's Eve, and he leaves the party crying after he's been exposed.
Oh, yeah.
And he like goes home and like sleeps in the shed on a burlap sack.
He has like a wall of shame, right?
It's like the worst thing. It's like can your life get any worse? It's like
yeah, why didn't he just go into his bed in his room and like cry there?
I don't know. It like literally lays a burlap sack down on the ground like he's poor and starts crying. It's like New Year's Eve. And everybody's partying and like, yay, life is great. It's New Year's Eve. And he's like, oh, it's almost like a spoof or something. It's so ridiculous. It's so
music is so slow. There's some sad sax playing and yeah.
And I think we're supposed to feel sorry for him, but I don't because he's such a jerk at that point.
Right.
No, he's been shitting to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I guess it makes it so maybe that's when he finally like gives the speech and has his breakthrough.
And the slow clap.
Right.
And
We
the
all
slow
just
clap.
kind of accepted that he hit rock bottom. That was his shed, was rock bottom.
I guess that's rock
Right.
bottom.
And we're willing to give him another chance,
Yeah.
because
He is being redeemed.
because we saw, I guess, those moments of who he really was or is, hopefully, right? Like when he took her out to the airplane graveyard,
Yeah.
and like the kind, or when he was really like washing the car. You know what is a small thing when he's washing her car, and she shares the poetry,
Mm-hmm.
and he compliments her. He says something really nice, and then there's this very small choice that they made, which I love because I hate it in movies when they don't figure this stuff out. Like I hate it in a movie if a girl puts her purse down and then she leaves without taking it, and we're supposed to just forget she had a purse. He puts the file of poetry. He opens the car door, puts it in. It's such a small thing.
Yeah.
He's still talking to her. It's like no big deal, but they make a point of doing it. And then what does he say? And she responds, and you're drenched, and starts spraying it with water. And then they have a cute little, water fight. But, so you see those moments of him really being a nice guy. And so you hope that this sort of like madness of popularity is just, him hitting rock bottom, and hopefully he'll never go there again. Right.
Yeah. He lost his
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
He did not deserve Kenneth's forgiveness. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, that scene with the "you shit on my house, you shit on my house."
Yeah. I really felt so bad for Kenneth, like that, just that whole scene where like he agrees to even do it, and then Kenneth realizes it's him. I was like, oh, it's so shitty. So shitty.
And Kenneth had, every time the friends were together, kind of questioning like, where's Ronald, or Ronald's late, or this or that. Kenneth, or look, he's sitting over there with the cheerleaders. Like Ronald always had this mature look on his face, and kind of was giving him a chance. Like, well, he's trying something new, or he'll be back. Like, and that's what I'm imagining he was thinking. Like, this is odd and this is different, but I don't know, like almost being supportive of his friend for trying to do something differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, but then it
Ronald
shits on him.
Yeah, Ronald shits on his house, literally. Yeah.
Oh, that was so awful.
It's so awful.
And that moment that they have, they're in the arcade, right? When Ronald's trying to get his attention, he finally like flips out.
But then we finally get the, cools and nerds, your side, my side. It's all bullshit. And then we get the slow clap, the famous slow clap.
I mean, it's so famous to me.
It is. I think Lucas did it too.
Lucas had it too. Yeah. Like the teachers show up and watch it, and they're like impressed. Look at the kids sorting things out for themselves.
And I guess it was just for me, my first real memory of the slow clap. So I always, in every time, even now, if I'm like making a joke about slow clap in my head, I'm still thinking about Can't Buy Me Love. It's just so great that it's still in my mind so often.
We need to make sure we end this podcast with a slow clap, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
If you and Big John, just Big John starting it.
We should have ordered pizza during this podcast, although people don't want to hear us eat. But the scene at the little restaurant where they go all the time after school, which I love that too. But I love that in movies, especially from the 80s, where it's like, and now we all go to the local diner or the local pizza place or whatever. Because I don't think that exists. Well, again, we all speak to our own very small experiences, right? It's like a White Castle is down the street from where I work. So sometimes the students go there if they have like an hour to kill, but no one really like hangs out at a place like that anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of them just socialize from home, playing video games and on social media.
We talked about this actually in last week's in the Sliding Doors episode, because we were talking about Stranger Things 3. And they I've just watched the first 2 episodes, but they spend all this time at the mall. And we were talking about how the mall was like such a big deal.
Oh,
like,
my gosh.
You literally could run into everyone at the mall. Everyone ate at the mall. You were shopping at the mall. You just hung out at the mall. Like the mall was the thing.
It was great. And again, for most of them indoor malls, I know there are some outdoor ones, but like they were temperature controlled and your parents drop you off and pick you. I remember my friend and I used to go a lot on weekends, and our parents would carpool, and then we'd get picked up at this one spot. It was like the lower level Marshall Fields by the fountain, and like it was a way to sort of like start practicing your independence too, We just started watching Stranger Things season 3. We're a little bit more into it, but we haven't finished it yet. And our kids are actually really into it, especially our 10-year-old, which he's loving it. And it's so funny. Our kids freak out about the swears and are like telling us, like, can you believe they said that? And I go, yeah, I know. My gosh, I'm so glad we don't talk that way, right? You know? So I appreciate that, like, okay, I don't have to censor this because, again, my 10-year-old is like loving it so much. He asked us for a Stranger Things t-shirt, which, by the way, I can't find a kid size one anywhere.
What?
I think I cannot. I've been searching. Target had adult sizes, no kids. Even on Amazon, because he wants one that just says Stranger Things. Like, he wants the logo. He doesn't want.
With the font, the like 80s font. Yeah.
Right.
That's
there
so
was one, I
weird.
think, we cannot find it. So I think maybe I'll just try to find an adult size small or extra small or something. I don't know, but it was so sweet. And he every day, like for the past couple weeks, if we're coming home, like if we take them to, a park or if we take them out somewhere, we're coming home, can we watch a Stranger Things before we go to bed?
Aww.
And it's like a family time. And it's the first real show that like we all are enjoying together because they're a little bit older. Yeah. I mean, they love shows that we don't love, like on the Disney Channel. Yeah. They're like really into, I can't even think of what they're called now, like Bunked. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Like I feel like a terrible parent. Like, I don't want to sit and watch Bunked with you. Like,
I hear you.
Where's family ties for this generation? Like who's the boss? I don't know.
I think that's awesome. I can't wait till Calvin gets to an age where we could watch something together that isn't Curious George.
Yeah, right. Oh my, and we kind of missed Curious George. But going back really quickly to the pizza place, when he offers the pizza as like, or come on over and join us, and they come over and they take all his pizza and like sort of pat him on the back, like, thanks, man, that's great, thanks. But then they go back to their table. He's left with one little crumb. That is like one of the worst moments in the movie for me.
I'm hungry for him.
I feel so bad. Like, and I, as a kid, I was like, well, that's not right. That makes me so mad. That is unfair. That is an injustice has been done. That is seriously how I felt as a kid.
But then you realize Ronald deserves it.
Right, like eventually, right, yes, yeah.
Good.
That is not right.
And that's a song that Patrick and I are singing all the time. Living in a Box.
Oh, yeah.
By Living in a Box?
Yes.
Did you guys see the remake, the Love Don't Cost a Thing or whatever, the one from like 2003?
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
I can't remember if I did. I guess I didn't, or I would remember.
Nick Cannon was in it. I didn't see it. Just curious.
I didn't see it. I think that the screenwriter, did he actually work on that too, or did they just give him credit because
I think
it was based on?
I think it's just a credit, like a story based on a story by, that sort of thing. But I didn't see it. I was curious about it, though. I wonder if how they modernized it. Maybe I'll put it on my list.
Yeah.
But there's so many good things. I don't know if I can bring myself to go back and watch Love Don't Cost a Thing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I know. It's really hard. There's so much.
Hard pass for me.
Every day we say there's so many things. Like there's so much. I want to be reading and watching and listening to at all times, and then somehow like still have a job and raise my children. But
yeah, exactly. I'm like, we can't all quit our lives to become full-time consumers.
I know. On IMDb, I saw that this movie somewhere in the world, and I don't know where, I didn't click through, is called Boy Rents Girl, and I just love the simplicity of it. Boy Rents Girl. That's it. We got it.
That's also Pretty Woman, by the way.
That's true.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh gosh, another childhood movie. Did you guys already do a dorking out on that?
No.
We
could though.
If it ever. Okay. Well, I would totally dork out with you guys over that anytime.
That one, I'd have a lot of feelings about that one, I think. Margo, did you just mention this movie on Best Neighbors recently?
Yeah, we were talking about it because what's funny about Pretty Woman, like it's super popular. And then like 10 years later, people are like, oh, she's a prostitute. And he's
like,
exploiting her. Oh my God. And then 10 years after that, people are like, no, she's a sex worker and she's in charge of her body and she has her own agency and she negotiates a deal. It's like, he's an asshole. I mean, his character, Richard Gere's character is always an asshole, but like her character goes from being totally exploited to like people all of a sudden now think, no, she has agency over herself. She's fine.
Yeah.
It's a weird movie.
it's hard to keep up with like what the public quote fingers like is saying we should all feel or say about art in general, right? Like
the
I don't know,
outrage machine.
Like, right. 1 year it's this, and then years later it's this, and then years like exactly what you just said is a perfect example, really. Yeah, that was a movie that my family bought on VHS. Again, that was a big deal, right? It was like, oh my gosh, we're owning this one. But I remember my mom, she let me watch it all the time, but she always gave me the talk. And it was like, this is so my Italian mother, Erika, in real life, men don't, rescue rescue you. And if you're a prostitute, a rich guy, nice guy is not going to come around and like just save your life. Like this doesn't really happen in real life. I'm like, I know, even though I'm in however old I was then, like maybe fifth or sixth grade, it's like, I understood that this was a fantasy. It was a fiction movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I was going to go out in the world and like, well, maybe we should try this and I'll just get picked up. Beverly Hills.
Oh, moms.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear about some of the other movies from 1987?
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So we've done a couple 1987 episodes. So we did like Lost Boys and Secret of My Success and Baby Boom and Fatal Attraction. So instead of doing top 10 movies, which is what I usually do, I tried to dig a little deeper and pick some that weren't, as insanely popular. But some of these are still popular. So that year, Moonstruck came out.
Wow.
I love Moonstruck.
Yeah. Moonstruck is great.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Love that one. The Big Easy.
Oh, yes.
Dennis Quaid is so sexy in that movie.
Oh, he's so sexy. Ellen Barkin.
Yeah. That's going.
Sex scene. That's like, wow.
That's going on the list.
Yeah.
Roxanne with Steve Martin.
Such a good movie.
I love that one.
I haven't seen that since forever. Gosh, I would like to see that again.
It's very charming.
Yeah.
He's so great.
Yeah.
He's great. Oh, Overboard.
Oh my gosh.
I love Overboard.
Oh my
I don't care how bad it is. I don't care.
I love it so much. I was just quoting it the other day.
I think Overboard might be the thing that brings all women together. I don't know a woman who doesn't like Overboard. Like every woman is like, Overboard! Like we all love Overboard.
Because Kurt Russell is at his hottest in this movie.
So great.
And he and Goldie Hawn have such great chemistry. They are so hilarious together. The three little boys in that movie are freaking hilarious. I love that movie. Yeah.
I love it too. Yeah.
We all love it. Less Than Zero came out in 87.
Yes.
That movie's hilarious. Loves Less Than Zero. Spaceballs.
Spaceballs is great.
Oh, yeah.
Who's That Girl?
Not a good movie.
Teen Wolf 2.
Not a good movie.
Oh, Jason Bateman, you deserve better than that.
Aw.
And then Flowers in the Attic.
Oh, I know that. Christy Swanson.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think I ever saw it.
Oh, no. It's terrible.
It's terrible. And those books were like a part of my childhood.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things our parents tried to hide from us because they're filthy and stupid. But
they're filled with incest.
I remember the book was on my family's, our bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the movie is not very good. And then they did a TV movie a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I think they did it right because they just did a really cheesy version of it on Lifetime, which is how you should treat the material. Yeah, and it was really fun.
Oh, man. No, that hard pass. I won't be revisiting that one.
Do you want to hear about the top songs of 87, you guys?
Of course I do.
Sure.
All right, so first one here, we have Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
I love that song.
I love that song so much. George Michael, I Want Your Sex. Great song.
I love that song. My niece was just telling me how she wants to dress up as George Michael for Halloween.
Aww.
But George Michael from like Faith with like the stubble and the leather jacket. And I was like, Lorelai, you are so fucking awesome.
How old is your niece?
She is 16.
I love it.
I know. I'm like, you're the
meet
best.
Her. That's awesome.
So then we have Lisa and the Cult Jam, Head to Toe. Great song.
Oh my gosh, I love that song.
Yeah.
Belinda Carlisle, Heaven is a Place on Earth. Great song.
Yeah. Yes.
Belinda Carlisle is why I dyed my hair red the first time.
Oh,
I saw her hair and I was like, I want to have red hair. Her hair is gorgeous. I wanted her hair so bad. And so as soon as I turned 18, I started dyeing my hair red.
Oh, wow.
And I've been dyeing
Wow.
my hair red ever since.
and Pink.
And
Aw.
pink. Right now it's kind of pink, but usually red.
And then the last song, it's Prince. You Got the Look.
Oh my gosh.
It's a great song.
I can't tell you. So a few of the songs you named, I would dance and sing by myself in my room. But
Mhm.
that one specifically, I mean, oh my gosh, can I just say this?
Yeah.
I used to like create my own little performance and sing all the parts. And yeah, this is how I spent a lot of my childhood, alone in my room, listening to music, playing tapes, watching movies, and then acting things out by myself. I never had any like dreams of being an actor or anything like that, but yeah.
You were just
okay.
expressing yourself.
Yeah, that's all.
But I loved that song. Oh my gosh.
I love
Oh,
that
it's
song
the best.
too. I
Yeah.
love Prince.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
we did that Purple Rain episode, but
Ugh.
now we can't do any of his other movies because they're really, really terrible. I'm like, I don't
They
know.
are the worst.
I don't know if we could fill 45 minutes with Under the Cherry Moon.
We have one of the a contributor to this movie. His name's Adam Thaz. He is a huge Prince fan, and he for many, many years, and even recently, again, kind of I think as a favor, but he would host a karaoke night. He's a teacher during the day, but an art teacher. But he would host a karaoke night. And he had this amazing performance he would do as Prince. It was like really great. But so when we had, I guess, when did Under the Cherry Moon come out? What year did that come out?
It had to be
Okay.
86,
Yeah, I wanna
87.
say 86 or 87.
Okay, so whenever we did that for F This Movie Fest, Adam wrote about Under the Cherry Moon, and I think it was he like loves it, but I think even for him, it's kind of more difficult because it's not as easy of a sell. You know, it's not.
Yeah, it does.
So great.
Yeah, the music is the thing that sell all Prince movies. Is
Yeah,
the music, the soundtrack.
and the sex,
And the
even when
sex.
there's not sex, it's just like
Yeah.
sex in the air, even when there isn't any.
What was it Adam Risky said? He remembered that Kim Basinger dated Prince, and he's like, "That's weird. I can't see that." And he said that then he saw the last 10 minutes of Purple Rain, and he's like, "Oh, now I get it.
There you go. Right. Okay.
I see."
Oh my gosh. We saw Prince in concert once, and it was really just amazing. I hate to use that word, but it was like it's like he was looking right at you because we saw him in Milwaukee, and it was an outdoor, big at their Summerfest, and so a really big stage, and they had a bunch of screens, and like he's looking right at you. It's like he's about to make out with you while playing
Wow.
30 different instruments, and he's just like switching things out and like doing turns, and then another instrument comes, and it's like, what is happening? Right? It was just awesome. But
Yeah.
the way he looks in the camera, you're just like, oh, does he want me? Yes, I
Yeah,
will.
I think he's
yeah.
talking to me. I'm gonna get up on
Okay.
stage.
Is he calling me up? I'm coming. Okay, here I am.
He's a sex shooter shooting in my direction.
And it's so funny because he's like a petite guy, right?
He
And he's
is.
so-
You can put him in your pocket. He's so little.
It's so funny to think about him. The last few years of his life, he was a Jehovah's Witness, and he would go door to door in his neighborhood.
Oh my gosh, in Minnesota.
And trying to sell people on this.
Could
and
you
they just
imagine?
Like, yeah, you can come in. Sure, we'll talk.
Right.
I would.
Prince knocks on your door.
Yeah, it's like I'm all like in my like frumpy house sweater and like my slippers, and you open the door and it's Prince. Can I talk to you about the Lord? Yes, you can.
Absolutely. I've been waiting all my life.
You're
Oh
my
man.
religion, Prince. So this works out.
Yeah, this was so fun. Do we have anything else we want to say about Can't Buy Me Love? Remember when we were talking about Can't Buy Me Love?
I know. I was just gonna say. I think I hit everything I wanted to say. I just like the one note I wrote. Gerardo.
It's just a piece of paper and it just says Gerardo on it. Nothing
It's
else.
just like his face is right next to him. I'm like, Rico Suave.
I took no notes, although I did. No, that's not true. I did. My notes were just quotes like, he is with Cindy. How bad could he be? Like the friends, like so quickly. Oh, and like totally geek to totally chic. Oh my gosh. I mean, I had friends who hadn't even seen the movie saying that line about things. Like we still quote that in my house like all the time. And then I think, oh, the name is Cindy and don't call me babe. That speaks to what you were saying earlier about how she has.
Yeah.
She really, she is a strong person, but the name is Cindy and don't call me babe. Oh, that's when is that before she pours the milkshake?
Yes.
On her jerky date?
Yes.
It gets on his car. Oh my gosh.
That's like
She's
another
so
thing
great.
that she's so great at doing. She's so awesome. I really wish like the movie had been more about her, but I can't fix that.
I never thought about it exactly how you just said it, but you're so right. If it had been a little more about her, I think it would have been really, but I still love it just for, again, part nostalgia, part, there are some really funny lines.
Yeah.
Seth Green has a lot of them,
Yeah, he does. Oh God, he's just naturally funny. He's just so good. I love Seth Green.
Hey, Big
Always
Dave.
do.
How about Sonia is funny? Preschool jam session at Julie's. Like everything he says just makes it fun.
He's so funny. He's like a little man.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Like in those early movies, he's just like a little man. I almost said a little human, like he's not human, but like he's like a little man. He's like a little grown up.
Yeah.
Oh God,
right.
He's so funny.
And he has such a sort of command of the family. Like the parents are so sweet and innocent, just kind of going with everything, and he's figuring out how to make everything work for him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
He's so smart. So Erika, where can people find you on the internet?
You're so sweet. My Twitter is just Erika Bromley. And I sometimes write or record with F This Movie, the podcast that I helped start with my husband, Patrick. But again, I'm sort of like the background. I call myself the producer, but I'm not setting up the tech equipment. I'm just, helping when anything like, oh, this isn't working. Okay, how can we figure it out? But it's just super fun. Like when I started recording on F This Movie, it was just for fun because I live in the same house as Patrick, right? So we would record. I mean, some of our first, I don't remember what our first one ever was, but we've done some that were just like, schmoopy, like, favorite like romantic comedies or like movies that we watched when we were dating.
I love that
and
you
stuff
guys
like
say
that.
schmoopy, by the way. It makes me laugh every time.
I actually feel a little embarrassed that I just let that
schmoopy.
out so casually. Usually it's a joke, but no, that was just genuine. But yeah, we just, whenever I can, but my job is really demanding for 10 months of the year. And then I get a little bit of a break, but even then, like I'm teaching summer school now. So during the school year, it's hard to even I can't pieces I'll start writing and then just abandon them because I'm grading, literally
busy.
hundreds of essays every single day. It doesn't stop, so anyway, but yeah, so I'm on F This Movie and now I can say I've been on Dorking. You guys are my first non-F This Movie podcast.
Oh,
I feel special.
I know. That's why I was nervous. I'm like, I've never recorded with someone who's not in the room with me and doesn't know me for like 20 years, right?
Well,
Thank you for
you
putting
did
up with my
awesome,
giggle.
and this was super fun. I'm so glad that you came on, and I also wanted to say happy 500 episodes to F This
so
Movie.
Much. Yeah, that's really exciting. So we're glad that the local theater is letting us screen Back to the Future. It's so funny. That's the movie that people would always say, well, how come you guys haven't recorded a podcast on that yet? And our answer is always like, well, it would be the Chris Farley show. We would just be saying it's so great. We love it.
I know.
You remember the time when...
And you remember when Michael J. Fox just showed his face and I melted? Okay, there we go. Done. There's my podcast on Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. It should be fun. We'll see. Recording a podcast live in front of the audience is kind of making me nervous too. And I know Patrick's nervous just because, we've never done that before. So we'll see how.
It's so exciting.
Well, you guys are awesome. We love everything you do. I'm so glad, you meet so many people through this kind of stuff and online and it's all great. But you guys especially have always been, long before I ever interacted with you guys. I think Patrick told you this actually, right? That I was for years oh my gosh, they're my favorite people. I just,
Aww, that is so sweet.
seem so genuine. Like nothing seems like forced or like for Twitter. You just seem like so lovely. And it's like, oh, this is someone I would love to know in real life. And then so when we went to New York, okay, that New York trip was just a dream for both of us. And we still like probably once a week are like, should we go back now or should we plan it later? What should we do? Should we go back? Should we bring the kids? We should go again without the kids. Then we'll bring the kids, but we loved it so much. And seeing Margo was so just fun. It was so special. Yeah, just awesome. So thank you guys for being you and for talking to us. And Sonia, I remember you reaching out to F this movie so many years ago. And you guys are awesome.
I'm a huge fan of the show. It's like one of the first podcasts I started listening to. And like I've said a million times, I'm like, Patrick is like my podcasting hero. Like I just like totally admire him and look up to him. And I'm always nervous that like sometimes I'm saying things where I'm like, now it just sounds like I'm like stealing that from Patrick Bromley or something. But like it just becomes like part of my lexicon, and I start saying those things, and I don't. I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm stealing. It's just like I'm just quoting him. Like I just can't help myself, and I do credit F this movie for introducing me to Margo. So
yeah, I was a guest on F this movie, and then Sonia reached out to me on Twitter, and just said this chick fucking gets it, and I'm like, who are you? You need to be my friend. And then we just became friends, and we started recording together. Now we have 2 shows.
Yeah, it's all thanks to F this movie.
You have a genuine, real friendship. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I love it.
And someday we're gonna meet in person, Margo.
I know.
Can't wait till you guys meet in person. I'm going to be watching from home, hoping for Facebook or Twitter updates or something. Just please let me see this reunion, or not a reunion, first time meeting.
Well,
we'll do a Facebook Live video.
We totally should, because I think we're talking about coming out in October, so we'll actually get to meet in person.
Just remember that Chicago is very central. If you ever need a central place to meet, just remember that.
I do want to come to Chicago, actually. So.
Yay. Okay, we're here.
I'm going to put that on the list.
Please put it on the list.
Yeah. Margo,
where New York is back on our list.
Yeah.
and San Francisco's on my list for sure.
Yeah, everyone needs to come see me. Everyone come to me, please. Thank you. Please and thank you. Margo, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's my name for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm mostly active on Twitter and Instagram, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook. And you can find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter and thesoniashow.com. And this was super fun as always. And Erika, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting up with my giggles.
No way.
We loved your giggles.
I loved your giggles.
Is there a giggle cast? Does anyone need me to just come on and giggle? Because
there's something on YouTube where it's probably just like chicks giggling and dudes subscribe. Just like,
what if we giggle whispered, giggling?
Because that's a thing too, right?
Quiet. I know.
There's a woman, she just whispers like this. Guys,
sometimes they talk about lots of different subjects and topics, but they're whispering. Okay,
so
that'll be our
weird.
Next one.
Okay, this got really weird.
I love it. You guys, thank you so much.